Jim, Beer to You video beer review channel. Welcome back. So, been hitting the IPAs pretty hard, and as Movember rolls to a close, we're getting ready to move on to some other different things. So, what are we doing today? Well, it's cold, it's dreary, it's time for something dark and warming. So today's victim is the Ballast Point Victory at Sea Imperial Porter. So cool. So as you can tell, this is from the local tap room. So they have a crowler can to go, which I think is kind of an awesome feature. You know, pick a beer off the tap and have it to go. So I brought one home to do the review on. So no description, although if you look online, you can see the label looks really cool with a skeleton pirate captain at the helm of a ship in the middle of a storm. Nautical things, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for those. Cool. So what is it? It's an Imperial Porter. It's big, it's roasty, it's dark, and I think rather than talk about it, let's get it into the glass and see what we got going on. So, it's a big porter, which means it's going to be a dark, roasty brown beer. So, and it is that. So dark brown with just a hint of ruby red color, kind of, you can't really see it in this light, but trust me, when the light shines through it, there's just a tinge of red to it. And then about 2 fingers worth of creamy tan colored head. So that really, really looks like what it's supposed to look like. So, yeah, try to get no foam on the stash. So this guy here is 10% ABV, so huge beer, 60 IBUs, but it's also got vanilla and cold pressed local San Diego coffee in it. Some porters just have that kind of coffee aroma to them based on how they make the beer, but this guy, they went to Ballast Point, wanted to amplify that, so they actually put actual coffee in it as well as vanilla. Don't get a ton of coffee, just a hint of coffee on the nose. Definitely get the vanilla. The vanilla is strong. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's definitely there. Kind of a little bit like some of the wood notes you'd get from like an oaky bourbon and barrel aged type of thing. But yeah, behind that, there's that malty sweetness that you get from a porter and a little bit of roast. So just not real bitter, but just a little bit of that roast. No hop aroma whatsoever. Yeah, there's a little bit more vanilla. Getting a little bit of the coffee now. So there's coffee notes. It's vanilla, coffee is really what I'm getting off the top there. So let's dig in, see what we got going on. Cheers. So not surprising, the coffee is there. I think it's a combination of coffee being in the beer as well as just porters having that kind of coffee background. You do pick that up there as well. And then immediately you get coffee, and the vanilla is stronger on the nose than it is on the taste, which is kind of part and parcel of the vanilla. So I don't know what kind of vanilla they use. Did they use real vanilla beans? Did they use extracts? Whatever. But vanilla is a perilous ingredient if you don't use it right, because bad vanilla has a very chemical, artificial sweetener kind of vibe going to it, and it can dominate and quite frankly ruin things. I'm not getting that in here. I'm getting nice coffee, long finish. There is some bitter on the finish, so that kind of black coffee note kind of comes through, along with a lot of roast and sweetness. It's funny, because I remember last time I had this years ago, I remember it being really sweet, and I don't know if it's just, this one I'm not getting any of that sweetness. I'm getting a lot of coffee now, like real strong coffee, which is good. I like black coffee. Real strong black coffee finishing notes, as well as just roasted malty goodness there. For a 10% ABV beer, this is definitely, it doesn't have that booziness to it that you get from some other really high ABV beers. It's warm. You get the pleasant warmth of alcohol, but you don't get that super booziness that you might get from other things. So really nice, actually. Usually when brewers try to take like a vanilla or take coffee or take some ingredient and kind of crank it up to 11, sometimes they lose that balance. But this one is pretty well balanced and pretty tasty. So looked on Untappd. Untappd had it at almost 4.1 out of 5, which is pretty high considering there's over 200,000 reviews. So that one means that there's probably a pretty good chance you can find this in your store. As well, it means that people really like this, because when you start getting into those hundreds of thousands of reviews, everything tends to normalize out at about 3. So a lot of people gave this 4 and 5s on the review scale. So what do I give it? I give it 8.5 out of 10, because I really do like this. It is a good example of what you can do with an Imperial beer without getting a little too crazy. But the cool thing that Ballast Point does, which I think is kind of a neat thing, and you've seen it with their Sculpin IPA, is this is one of their flagship beers, this the Victory at Sea Porter. But they've made special edition, just dozens and dozens of variants. Right now on their website, they've got a bourbon and rye barrel aged version, as well as a peanut butter Imperial Porter. Interesting. And if you look back through Untapped, every year they've had 3 and 4 different variations of peppermint, and there's a chai tea version, and all manner of good stuff. And they do that with their Sculpin IPA as well. So they've got one kind of baseline beer, and then they get really crazy and experimental with variations off of that theme, which I think is a really neat thing to do. So I think that pretty much wraps this guy up. It's Ballast Point Victory at Sea Imperial Porter. Check it out. It's really good. Hey, like, share, subscribe, click the button, do all the things. And we'll talk to you guys later. Hey, beer nerds of the world, unite. And always remember to keep looking for the good stuff. Cheers.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for even more great beer stuff.